All right, so we're live here today. My name is Edson Agati. I'm director of Hayek Global College. We're here today with Dr. Stephen Mauro. He's the president of Alfred State University, and also here with Melissa Holland. She's director of international studies over there, and also Andre Santos, who is our head of admissions. And we're just going to run a countdown and start right after the countdown. So, Marjorie, please run the countdown.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? This is a global transmission. Hayek will be live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enjoy the show.
All right, so we're back. And Dr. Stephen Mauro, very excited to be here with you today, hearing from the president. And would you please tell us a little bit more about Alfred State University for the people listening to us who don't know about it?
Yeah, I am happy to. And I am really happy and excited to be here, I have to tell you. And, I have to say that was like the best introduction I think I have ever seen. That was awesome and fancy. I loved it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about ways to always be introduced like that. That was humbling to say the least. But I really am. I'm super happy to be here and to be chatting, with the audience today. And to tell you a little bit about Alfred State, very excited always, to tell the story of Alfred State and what it is that we do here in upstate New York. So Alfred State College is part of the SUNY system. It is the largest public system of higher education in the United States, and we are happy to be a part of that. Alfred State College is a college of technology. It was formed in 1908, so we have been around for a while. We have over 60,000 alumni now that are out all over the world doing so many incredible, great things. We are a community that is in the region that is really focused on career preparation. So our student population is a little over 3,500 students, soon to be over 3,600 students. So it's the right size. It's the perfect size where you're going to get together and you're going to be able to meet lots of new people and find your crowd. But it's not so big, where you're going to be overwhelmed or you're not going to get the attention that you deserve. And so we really focus on applied hands-on learning. Some people really love the classroom environment and reading books. Some people not as much, and we really focus on those skills and those individuals who like to read maybe, but really like to work with their hands and like to learn by doing. And that's what Alfred State is all about. We're really focused in career placement. We have lots of majors that align with that. But I think the most fantastic thing that I always like to say up front is that our career placement this year is 99%. That means that 99% of our students who graduate find a job within their discipline within 6 months after graduation. I mean, quite honestly, that's the highest I've ever seen anywhere. It's near perfect, so it almost can't be beat, even if you try. But it just really goes to show you how it is that we pay attention to the students and we focus on getting them jobs, upon graduation.
That is amazing. I listened to that stats before with Melissa, and it's really amazing to see how much that. So, like for the people hearing us today, if you study at Alfred, you're practically guaranteed to have a job within the 6 months, and a job, not only just any job, right? A job on the discipline that you have studied.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And why is it that Alfred is so good at that? Where does that come from?
It has always been our focus from day one. We were born with the idea of focusing on career placement. And, as we have done that, we have built such an alumni base and such a reputation that employers really seek us out, for students. And they're not disappointed. When they go into the workforce, they're prepared and they do great work. And so they serve as the future ambassadors, for the next generation of students. And then those are the ones that recruit more of our students. So, I think it's just this continuum, that we see, and just based on the focus that we have, and the career fairs, that we have that are on campus every single year. So another thing that I think is just so very unique about Alfred State College is that we run career fairs every year here, and at every career fair, and we have 6 now that we run throughout the year because there's such a high demand from businesses to get in here. They have over 100 businesses in each career fair, and they're just offering people jobs on the spot. And so our students, they will come and they'll have their resume, and we work with them and we coach them, and they're all dressed up, ready to go, and they hand a resume to somebody and they get offered a job on the spot. But
Wow.
we coached them well, but we say, okay, well, why don't you go down like three rows and ask what you can make there? And so we literally see people not waiting 6 months but getting employed even before graduation, and being able to negotiate salaries, in real time. I mean, that's what you see here at Alfred State.
That is amazing to see how students are actually negotiating their jobs right there, right in the career fair and everything, and it's refreshing to see, because there's a criticism to higher education in Brazil and United States and anywhere really, that sometimes the academia has become disconnected from the job market. But it hasn't happened at Alfred, and you're saying that Alfred has had this tradition for a long time already of being this very practical university that's looking towards a job market. If Melissa also wants to chip in and comment on that.
I would just sort of second everything that he says. The things that sort of set Alfred apart, first and foremost, is that we don't just teach theory; we teach students how to apply it. I think that is a key aspect of what's done at Alfred State. We have industry connections, as he mentioned, the job fairs, but we also have internships. We have clinical, practical for every major that we offer. So career readiness, and also the community at Alfred, I think, is really great because it's a safe community. It's tight knit. Students come to Alfred and they thrive because of the community that we offer.
Very cool. Very cool. It's amazing to see. And what is it with the technology focus? Because I see the name technology all around Alfred, right? Is there a special tradition with technology within Alfred?
Yeah, we originally started as a school of agriculture, and then that's how where our roots came from. And really, it was to meet workforce demands back in the early 1900s in the area, which was all about farming and agriculture. But as we grew there and workforce demands shifted, and this was then getting into the 1940s when manufacturing became a thing, we developed programs to continue to meet job demand. And so we developed a lot of workforce and technology-based jobs as a result of that. And then those schools that really focused on that became known as colleges of technology. And so we're still very true to that today in workforce development. Obviously, not all of our jobs are in the workforce or technology sector or trade sector nowadays, but it tells the story of how we've always been responsive, to where work is needed and where we put our focus.
Very cool, very cool. And the technology market today is so big, and it's very much in where the job needs to be today, right? The workforce needs to go today, and yeah, there's a lot of demand for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say that Alfred is actually very proactive, as well as Dr. Mauro could probably mention all of the investments that are made in cutting edge technology that we have on campus.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. We again, if you're learning by doing, you have to have the state-of-the-art equipment and technology, to be able to do that, the ones that mirror what you're going to see in the workforce. So we have actually at this point close to $100 million in active construction that is ongoing here at our campus right now. And all of that is to provide new building spaces, updated equipment, and so on and so forth to support the student experience.
Very cool. And for students now coming to Brazil, by the way, if you're watching us now and you want to make any questions, feel free to ask the questions on YouTube and we'll try to answer them too. So if anyone watching us live wants to ask a question, feel free. I want to ask, so here from Brazil, parents are worried about, what type of college I'm going to go to United States. Usually, the big brands come to mind when people from Brazil are looking for colleges. What are the big brands? Harvard, MIT, Stanford. And when you go beyond that, hardly people have any brand recognition of colleges in the United States. So parents and students get a little bit lost on where I'm going to send my students. Is it going to be safe? Is it going to be good? And just as a general thought, someone that really knows the higher education market in the United States, what are some tips that you can give students and parents in Brazil who are looking to find a good college for them in the United States?
Yeah, so many things, to think about. But I think the first and foremost thing to think about is the place where you know that a student is going to get attention. Get the one-on-one, that they will be able to have the time well spent. And there are some really big colleges with big student populations that do that, but that's a really hard thing, right? And so there are some small colleges that do that and some that don't. But, I say the number one thing always to look for is whether you feel like you're going to get the time and attention you deserve, right, for the education that you're paying for. And so, when you're looking for a college, especially at the undergraduate level, the name and the brand isn't as important as making sure that that you're going to be an enriching culture and an experience, and that you're going to be able to have access to your faculty, and you're going to be able to form bonds with your fellow students and see and experience something different.
Cool. Would you like to add to that, Melissa?
Yeah, I absolutely would. I would say for students that are interested in coming to the U.S., I mean, it's a huge decision and there's many, many options. Consider location. Do you want to be in a big city? Do you want to be in a small town? What kind of campus environment are you looking for? Your experience on a campus with 30,000 students is going to be very different from an experience at a place like Alfred State with 3,600. I personally agree with Dr. Mauro that having that smaller campus size is actually beneficial for students, particularly at the undergraduate level, particularly if they're coming from a different culture and have to do a little bit of, adjusting. A place like Alfred, we have one-on-one admission support. We have pre-arrival guidance. We have orientation programs. We have visa support on campus once they get there. We have all kinds of activities and clubs that represent cultures from all over the world. So that experience is going to be different from, some of those larger schools where you're going to kind of be a number. I hate to say it that way, but you're just a number, one of 30,000. And that's not going to be your experience at a smaller campus. I also think it's really important because education in the US is so expensive that you consider the cost. And a place like Alfred, we're well known for our return on investment. Our students are doing exceptionally well for the amount of money that they've invested in their education. So those are the types of things that I think students and parents should be considering when they're looking at U.S. education.
Yeah, totally agree.
Very cool. Andre, I have a couple other questions here, but if you want to come in and also ask questions to them, if you have anything there, please feel free to.
Yeah, something that usually comes up when, hello, Dr. Mauro, hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. Something that usually comes up when parents and students are asking questions about universities is the safety of the city, the safety of the campus. So this is something that Melissa has also talked about, but this is a question that I usually ask to you guys. Tell us a little bit more about that, because it's something that the parents, they usually ask specific questions about that.
Yeah. So safety is also really important, right? And also just knowing, that somebody's going to be there, right? For your son or your daughter when you can't be physically there, right? And so I'm a parent myself, so I totally understand that. So safety on campus always our first priority. We are more rare in higher education in that we have a fully funded, bona fide police force on campus. So being part of the public system of the state of New York means that we have full-time police officers who are on duty and on call at all times, 24/7. So not all colleges have that. Some of them have security, right? These aren't police officers, but we have people who are here and present at all times who can make sure that they enforce the law. We're not in a big city. We're in a rural community. This is a very tight, close, tight-knit community. We call it Happy Valley. And so, crime rates here are nearly non-existent. I shouldn't tell people this, but I live right here. I live right across the street from the campus, and I never lock my doors. And so, but it gives you an indication. I grew up in a city. I locked my doors, growing up, but here it's just such not a thing. You have to worry more about deer running across your front lawn than you do, somebody who's committing a crime. So it's a very safe environment. We also have the blue lights, so if you ever feel unsafe for any reason, you pick up a phone that automatically goes to the police station. We also have transport teams that are on campus that also work 24/7. So if you ever feel like you're in an unsafe environment, or if you ever feel like you need transport from point A to point B, all you have to do is pick up the phone. Sometimes our police actually do that because they want to make sure that you're safe and can get, to a safe environment. But we also have hired student workers who are a van transport team. And they also act as safety guards. They will be in places like the library or, places where students happen to be late at night, and they will offer to walk a student from point A to point B. So quite honestly, I've been in higher education at many institutions for over 20 years now. This is by far the safest campus that I have ever seen.
That is amazing.
Thank you so much. This is something that the parents, they are going to love to hear about, because it's one of their main concerns, actually. Yeah, and this is amazing. I already knew a little bit about that, but it's so good to hear from you and to hear that they have the safety there, and they are going to just allow their kids no their young adults to breathe free, but in an environment that is safe to them. So thank you so much for adding to that.
And it's always kids, right? I'm almost 40 and my mom still calls me a kid. So
That's right. Checking to make sure you're safe.
Yeah, I got to make sure everyone's safe. But something else about Alfred is it gets pretty cold there, right? And how is it like in the winter there for people coming in?
Yeah, it's fun. So you're gonna experience something different, but isn't that what college is all about, right?
Right.
You're gonna see, maybe for many, snow for the very first time. So we do get cold, we do get snow here, but it's an experience. Yes, sometimes it gets really cold here. Like sometimes where you're at, it gets really hot, right? And maybe you don't want to be outside, but a lot of the times, you just put on your extra layers, and then you get to enjoy all the fun, that snow brings with it. So you get to try things like skiing or snowboarding. or having a snowball fight. All the fun kinds of things that come with a different environment. It's just our off season happens to be filled with snow instead of very high heat.
The people in our community really embrace it too. If you're from the Western New York region, snow, you have to adjust to it, right? Because you have it a couple months a year. Each year it's going to be cold outside. But we have multiple ski resorts near our campus. As he mentioned, there's downhill skiing, snowboarding, sledding, snowmobiling. We really embrace it because you want to get outside. And I know Brazilians are super active, so I don't think Brazilians are going to have any issues with that at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember the first time I ever saw snow, I was in Washington, D.C. I was in my 20s. And me and another Costa Rican friend of mine were the most excited ones ever for the snow. Because it was the first time we were seeing snow. We were like throwing
that's right.
at each other.
You got to
It's a great
experience it.
So, and what are the fun things that you can do at Alfred, either summer or winter, other than snowing and the skiing and the other things you said in the snow? What else is there to do for fun?
Yeah, so boy, just almost anything that you could certainly think of. We do have a full-fledged, we're part of NCAA Division III athletics. So students who have an interest in becoming part of a competitive sports team, we do have, I think it's 18, athletic teams now, including men's and women's soccer, American soccer. But we also have clubs and organizations. We have over 100 now. And so in addition, to athletic clubs, we also have sports clubs. So for example, I just am serving now as the advisor for the golf club, which is a new club that has been formed this year. So we have hiking and camping and archery and any kind of affinity group, that you can think of. We have international students clubs, of various kinds. So these are great opportunities, to get together for students who have like interests and do fun things together. Outside of Alfred State, a lot of students like to go and experience, the culture locally. So we run buses back and forth to Hornell and Wellsville, nearby cities. So you get that experience. But we also have trips to places like Letchworth State Park, which is absolutely gorgeous, Niagara Falls, which is in driving distance for us, New York City. So there's opportunities, to go out and explore. One of the things that we show, incoming students is that, we're about 5 hours away from almost any metropolitan area that you could possibly think of, in the Northeast. Like I said, that includes places like New York City, Washington, D.C., Buffalo, Boston. So it is not that far of a journey, to strike out on the weekend and experience all kinds of different things. So, it's tough to answer the question because, I would say you can do almost anything that you could imagine that you'd want to do, either here locally or just by striking out, on a weekend fun journey.
I'm a big fan of the theatrical shows. There's, clubs that put on shows for campus. There's also musical events. It's kind of an interesting collaboration as well because there's another university, a private university across the street from us. And our students get to participate not only in our clubs and organizations, but the clubs and organizations of that campus. So there's no shortage of fun things to do.
And I feel like you get the best of both worlds because you're in the small town, very safe place, but you're also driving distance for the big metropolitan areas where you can do so many things too.
Yep.
And when you guys think about Brazil, what is it that comes to mind when you're thinking about Brazil and the thought about receiving Brazilian students?
What I often think about is just how the excitement and passion that exists in the culture. having met and having interacted and having many Brazilian colleagues, the thing that always I see is this recurring theme is just the excitement and the vibrancy that Brazilians have for life and the passion and the emotion that they bring with that. And so that's always great, and that's why we so welcome, our partnership, because not only do we feel like it becomes an enriching opportunity for our current students, right, who aren't Brazilian, to get to know and interact with your students and students who are coming from Brazil, but vice versa. The students get to tell the story of their place and culture. And so it just becomes this great learning environment from one person to another, and just being able to share those different stories and cultures. And that creates those long-lasting friendships.
Yeah, we're very excited to welcome Brazilian students to Alfred, particularly students from Hayek, because we already know, as I mentioned earlier, they're going to have a strong English proficiency. So they're going to be able to thrive right away when they reach campus. But we've had Brazilian students on our campus in the past, and I still hear from faculty about how amazing those students sort of have in class. So it's definitely something exciting to bring that perspective into our classrooms.
Very cool. Yeah, just as a reminder for everyone watching us, Hayek Global College has a 2+2 partnership with Alfred State. So students are going to start here in Brasília. They're going to study for 2 years with us, and then they're going to transfer automatically to Alfred State to finish their studies there. So we're also very excited to be sending students over to Alfred, and a lot of our students already have been very excited, especially after doing the Next Gen workshop, which we did a couple weeks ago, which was very successful with the Dean Evan Enke. Mm-hmm. And we were very much looking forward to continuing that. Andre, any other questions that come to mind where parents or people coming into to Hayek are curious to know about Alfred or studying in the United States in general?
Yeah, one question that I have been asked a lot is if I don't want to get into politics, but is it going to get easier to get visas, or it's the same, so they don't need to worry about because the policy remains the same? I don't want to get into politics, but just so they have an idea of what's going to happen, what will happen or will not happen.
Yeah.
If I may compliment that, just it's been a lot in the media, the whole Harvard ordeal with the Trump administration, and some parents have been worried about if it's going to be easy to get a visa now, or it's going to change anything.
Yeah, the last I heard, the general advice that I always give people is, don't let the fear of the unknown stop you, and so the only way that you will know for sure is to apply and see what happens. And I would highly encourage that. The last that I had heard that, there has been a good deal of relaxation and the kickoff of the processing of visas again, in the United States. And that's been very encouraging, for all of us to see. And, one of the things that I would maybe put out there, just to be a myth buster in case the myth exists, is that Americans love international people and cultures, and especially our students. And so, I would say that, what you are going to find is a welcoming environment. It sounds like any barriers or pauses, in the process are being relaxed. But I would say go through the process and find out for yourself.
One additional thing I would like to throw out there as a tip for students is that one of the newer vetting processes that's been introduced to applying for a visa includes social media. So do keep that in mind if you have plans to come to the US, that you are considerate of what you're putting out on your social media platforms. And that's not to be, to make anybody scared, but just to make you aware that the US visa officers will be vetting social media moving forward. So that's just an additional piece that they've now added to the application process. So students just need to be very aware of what they're putting out there on social media.
I think this is an amazing tip, actually. Very, very good.
In general, for all people. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, so just complementing that, there's a new requirement, right? New audits that the US government is going to do on people looking for a US visa, which includes if they had posted something inappropriate on their social media. So also keep that in mind. Anyone who wants to study in the United States, be careful with what you post on social media. And in general, it's a good idea. If you want a job or anything, just
that's right.
And your social media. All right, we have a question here from a student, and she's asking if you intend to visit us anytime soon. I guess anyone from Alfred is also always welcome to visit here at Hayek.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we're going to look at some travel details and logistics, in the coming year. We got a summer of kind of looking ahead and doing some planning. So we'll see how things shake out. I would really love, to come and visit. And if I have the opportunity to do so, certainly I will. And I do very much appreciate, that open invitation.
I had the opportunity to visit Alfred, and I thought it was an amazing experience. And hopefully, Andre will have the opportunity soon to also come sometime to visit that amazing college.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else? Go ahead, Melissa, sorry.
I'm sorry. I just said I'll show you around, Andre.
There you go.
Awesome. Anything else that you guys wanted to add, or things that we could have asked you?
Something that I always often get as well, is what is my living situation gonna be looking like, and what does the food look like, right? So maybe I'll talk a little bit about that, maybe share some perspective. We have gone through a lot of renovations of our dorm rooms, and so we just finished a $60 million dorm room renovation. So the dorm rooms here are very top notch. We're putting large screen televisions, in each of the common room spaces, along with gaming consoles and systems. And so, what we try to do is make this your home away from home, and have it be a great living experience for you. The dorm rooms are set up so that you'll have a bed and a desk, and you'll very likely be living with somebody, that first year, which is a good thing. You really it's a great way to meet somebody right away, find out who your living partner is. We try to align people based on their interests. So you fill out forms based on what you like and what you don't like, what you're interested in, and then we provide some alignments for that. So you have some opportunities, even to talk to your roommate in advance, or in some ways, pick each other for that living experience. There's a lot of interaction that goes on in the dorm rooms themselves in terms of programming and interacting with your RAs, your resident assistants, and integrate education, into our dorm rooms. But it's very different than when I went to college and I stayed in a dorm room. I'd say the living conditions have changed. I would be very happy to live in our dorm rooms any day of the week. But I wanted to give you a little bit of a flavor for what that looks like. And then our food, I think we have some of the best food that I have ever tasted. In higher education. We certainly have our cafe, which is open and has all kinds of options. We have an international station now where we rotate a different international cuisines, so that when you get here, you have to tell us, what your favorite Brazilian dish is. And, we'll be thinking about it, and we're going to do our best, to recreate it. But you also have the opportunity to try all the different things from our culture, right, and where we live. You got to try some buffalo wings. You just have to. And there's this thing called beef on weck, where we put roast beef on this special bun that is just so tasty. So you'll be maybe trying some new things, as well. We have a culinary program that also adds to some of the things that we create, for regular meals for our students. And we just started overseeing a restaurant on Main Street, the Collegiate. You might have eaten there, Edson, when you were here. Who knows? But we run that now, and it's a great place where we're now turning that into a learning lab, but another great place to grab a bite to eat and just experience some American cuisine.
I wrote down a couple of tips that I wanted to share for any Brazilian students that are dreaming of studying in the US. Just 3 quick things. First, believe in your ability to succeed and don't be afraid to ask for support along the way. Okay? We're here to support you. Take advantage of every opportunity to grow, both inside and outside of the classroom. Especially in the US, the experiences and the learning that happen outside of the classroom are important. It's not just what you learn in the classroom. And then keep in mind that the US education system values initiative and curiosity. And Alfred State is a place where you'll be supported to do that, all the way from inquiry to graduation.
Those are great tips, Melissa. I'm very much an admirer of the higher education system in the United States. Alfred State is a great place to study, and those tips are great, right? Students really need to take advantage of all the opportunities they will have at this stage in their lives. And also, as they go there, we know they're going to be well maintained, and they will have a nice place to live, and also good food to taste while they're there. We also know that me as I was an international student a couple of years ago, I understand that food is a big deal when you get out of your home. You miss the food from home, and you miss having good food. So that is a big plus, to know that you're going to be able to count
That's true.
the food. Right, Andre, do you want to add something there?
Oh, no, I said that's true, actually. I felt the same when I went to the United States, and food is something that I was craving for. I went to New Orleans. They have some good food there, but I miss some good food from Brazil. So, yeah.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite Brazilian dish?
Yeah, it's feijoada.
Okay.
So
I think we can do it.
It is my favorite.
Whenever Dr. Mauro is here in Brasília, we got to give him some churrasco here.
You betcha. You bet.
Brazilian steakhouse. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Stephen Mauro, for being with us today, and also Melissa Holland for giving all your explanations and talking about Alfred State. Andre, it's always a pleasure to be with you. And everyone watching us today, thank you for being with us. If you have any questions, we're here to answer and to talk about anything about the admissions process at Hayek. Andre is your go-to person, and also Melissa is going to be there to give you the support to talk about Alfred. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Majdi, you can